I'm John Fillwalk. The piece is called Final Wisdom 1. Basically, it's a interactive installation where we really wanted the viewer to have an experience of being immersed in a poem that they could shape the experience of. So it allows the viewer to shape the image, the sound, and vibration. You get a force feedback, haptic response as well as a tactile response and actually manipulating the surface in there as well. It comes out of a collaboration originally that I took part in with Hans Brader, who did the photography, Donald Cuspit, the art critic, who did the poetry, and a composer out of New York originally, Carlos Queller Brown, who did that composition. Since then, I was thinking about this piece again, and I wanted to translate it into an installation that is interactive, again in kind of a haptic sense, and work with Allison and in translating this into a form that would allow a viewer to really shape the direction and cadence of the poem. And so that's sort of how we arrived here, and Jesse can talk about the technical side of it.
Basically, this year's theme here at SIGGRAPH, the art gallery area, was haptics and touch. So we looked into different ways that we could make and use touch in ways that would augment and just really flesh out what the meaning of the piece was, this loss and memory, loss of a loved one. So we were looking at ways that we could bring in touch and the memory and the disconnect between the different just elements that were in the film, or in the element. So one of the things we did was we brought in a thermal camera that could give trace or track where you were moving. Any of the participants can move through, and we've brought in a faux shadow to basically follow them as wherever they left. And when you press into the piece, it leaves your thermal signature into it, and which then decays out of the video itself through that direction. We also brought in some capacitive sensing to be able to detect when someone was actually touching it, so that we could bring out the poetry, and so that the users themselves can go in and basically engage the piece, bring out the poetry, and run through the work in their own pace.